Shifting focus now, the Unemployment Insurance Fund, the UIF, is being grilled in Parliament today for fraudulent temporary employee relief payments, TERS, the TERS payments. The Labour Department has been detailing the hiccups it encountered in naming and shaming companies after money was wrongly paid out. eNCA's Lindsay Dentlinger is following that briefing for the standing to the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, SCOPA, and joins me now for an update. So, Lindsay, how has the Labour Department been explaining the fraudulent payments, particularly how over 6,000 civil servants managed to extract money from the fund?
Well, Tulas, they haven't got very clear answers this morning. That briefing's still going on, and you will remember this comes off the back of the Special Investigating Unit giving a similar briefing to Parliament last week. But overall, the Labour Minister, Tulas Kwesi, as well as the acting UIF Commissioner, putting the blame down to its poor IT systems. They say the speed with which they were required to pay out these TERS benefits had led to a lot of fraud taking place. They had to try to prevent double dipping, and they're also blaming departments like Home Affairs, for example, for not giving them the correct IT plug-in to prevent dead people from claiming TERS benefits and people in prison and the like. And so overall, they say their systems let them down, the speed at which they had to work, and then they say there was also a certain level of trust that they had to put in civil servants, that they wouldn't try to claim benefits falsely when they were receiving their full salaries during the lockdown, and that in some instances these civil servants were trying to claim money for their domestic workers and their garden workers and others. So a lot of unhappiness obviously from parliamentarians with this regard, but the department trying to give the assurance as we speak to us that they are working on those IT systems. They say unfortunately they cannot go outside of government's CETA system to try and get better systems to manage this process. They're also speaking to National Treasury, the Minister quite open, not making any excuses, saying that they just do not have the financial and auditing human resource skills to manage the fund accurately and to prevent this kind of fraud from happening. But as it now stands, a lot of work they acknowledge that still needs to be done to tighten up the system, to us.
Yeah, and of course the TERS is part of what the Auditor General has been tracking very closely in terms of how it was administered in the early months of the lockdown and its impact on the economy. Absolutely shocking. Some 6,000 civil servants managing to get money, to get paid in as far as this scheme is concerned, people in prison, etc., as you mentioned. I'm wondering though, Lindsay, how are these explanations going down with members of what is, one of the more robust committees in Parliament?
Not well at all, Tulas. The chairperson of the committee, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, saying to the Labour Department that they seem to be blaming everybody but themselves for the system not being up to scratch and being open to fraud. The department saying this is not the case, but they were just merely stating fact, that they were reliant on other departments to provide them with systems that would allow them to prevent double dipping, to ensure that those who receiving the benefits are actually eligible for them. But MPs just not happy, saying that it's not the first time the UIF have to make payments. They make payments all the time for a variety of claims that people submit to them. So why is it that when it came to TERS payments, they were not able to prevent the system from being defrauded? And so they say that there are just too many excuses from the Labour Department as to why the system has allowed itself to be abused in this way. And as I say, that meeting still ongoing and MPs still posing questions and trying to extract answers from the Labour Department to understand why it is not only that the system was being defrauded to us, but that some people are having such difficulty in trying to get money from the fund because they experience a range of other issues that perhaps show up that they had claimed maternity benefits, that they are still employed. And so what the committee says, this really points to not only the deficiencies in the Labour Department, but something we hear time and time again, Tulis, and that the integration of systems, of departments, the silo operations, the way government operates, again coming to the fore in this particular system. And then lastly, Tulis, also very unhappy that the department has, so to speak, backtracked on a decision to name and shame the companies who attempted or did defraud the system, because they now say, get this, Tulis, that a memorandum of agreement that companies enter into with the UIF doesn't make provision for this. And so they've obtained a legal opinion which has advised the Labour Department against naming and shaming those who attempted to defraud the system. And again, you can imagine MPs not happy with that decision either, and asking to see that a legal opinion which has advised the department against showing to the whole of South Africa just exactly who these people and these companies are who tried to defraud the system. To us.
All right. That's eNCA's Lindsay Dentlinger there tracking that story coming out of Parliament. Scopa hearing from the Labour Department.